Hey everyone, welcome back to Unplugged Headlines Podcast.
Great to be here.
This is episode 26, and today we're doing a deep dive into a really interesting blog post.
Ah, yes, the one titled From If-Then to Intelligent, Comply AI and the Agentic Architecture Behind Ahrvo Network.
That's the one. Our plan is basically to pull out the key insights, specifically focusing on how Ahrvo Network is applying AI in financial compliance. We want to give you a quick handle on what they're doing.
Absolutely. And it's timely because, well, the blog really drills down on a major pain point in finance right now.
Which is?
Well, you've got these organizations, right? They're grappling with just mountains of regulations, really complex stuff.
And they're often using tech that doesn't talk to each other.
Exactly. Fragmented technology, different systems, often legacy systems. It's just a messy picture, and it leads to huge inefficiencies.
Yeah, the blog mentions a pretty staggering statistic, something like highly skilled compliance pros spending 80% of their time.
80% on manual, repetitive tasks, not on actual risk analysis, which is what you want them doing.
It really makes you think. They call it a fundamental misalignment of human potential. That phrase really stuck with me.
It's a strong phrase and accurate. It's a massive drain, and it, begs the question, surely there's a better way.
Which is where Ahrvo Network and their Comply AI apparently come in.
Right. And what's interesting is how they started. The blog says they didn't just, jump to building tech first.
Okay.
They asked fundamental questions like, how do we augment human judgment? How do we connect these disparate systems? And crucially, how do we adapt to changing regulations without needing constant manual reprogramming?
Mm-hmm. Which feels different from the usual approach, right? Like just getting a specific tool for KYC, another for transaction monitoring, these point solutions.
Totally different. Or those old school rules engines that are so rigid. Comply AI is positioned as something more holistic. They call it a multi-modal brain architecture.
Okay, multi-modal brain architecture. Sounds fancy. What does that actually mean in practice?
Think of it less like a single tool and more like, mimicking how an experienced compliance officer thinks. It combines different cognitive functions.
Such as?
The blog lists 6. Planning, attention, reasoning, coordination, vision, and learning. They all work together.
Right. And they stress that it's vendor-agnostic. Why is that so important in the real world of finance IT?
Because, like we said, financial institutions have this mix, this often messy landscape of tech from different vendors, different eras even.
They can't just rip and replace everything.
Exactly. So a solution needs to play nice with what's already there. Being vendor-agnostic means Comply AI can potentially integrate without forcing a massive disruptive overhaul. It's much more practical.
Makes sense. And the other big theme is transparency. They're very clear. Black box AI has no place in regulated industries.
And they're absolutely right. In finance, you have to be able to explain your decisions to regulators, auditors, even internally.
You can't just say the AI said so.
Definitely not. If you don't know how the AI reached a conclusion, you can't trust it, you can't validate it, you can't check for bias. It's a non-starter for compliance.
So it's about more than just automating tasks then. The blog contrasts automation with adaptation. What's the core difference there?
Automation is basically taking a set process and letting the machine run it. Think repetitive tasks. Adaptation, though, is about the system learning and changing its approach based on new data or new rules.
So it gets smarter over time.
That's the idea. Comply AI is designed to learn continuously, to adapt to new money laundering typologies or shifts in regulation. That makes it much more powerful than a static rule-based system.
Okay, let's touch on those 6 cognitive capabilities. First, planning. How does that work?
Planning is about developing structured approaches. So the blog gives an example, a big international payment to someone new.
Right.
Comply AI wouldn't just react. It would proactively map out the required steps, KYC checks, sanction screening, risk scoring in the right sequence, like an intelligent checklist generator almost.
Got it. And attention. How does it focus on the important stuff in all that data noise?
Right. Attention is about filtering. It sifts through massive data streams to find the anomalies, the subtle signals.
Like the example they gave.
Yeah, the subtle changes in payment frequencies, individually, maybe meaningless. But Comply AI's attention mechanism spots the pattern, flags it as potential account takeover risk, seeing the bigger picture.
At machine speed. Okay, next up is reasoning, deductive, inductive, abductive. Sounds a bit academic.
It sounds it, but it's practical. It's about the why. Deductive is rules to cases, inductive is cases to rules, abductive is finding the best explanation for the evidence.
And the example.
Identifying complex ownership structures, like finding hidden control links between companies across different countries. That requires reasoning, connecting disparate dots that a human might miss or take ages to find.
Yeah, I can see that. Coordination seems more straightforward, getting systems to work together.
Pretty much. It acts like an orchestra conductor for compliance processes. Think about onboarding a new client, multiple steps, different systems maybe.
KYC, risk assessment, account opening.
Right. Coordination ensures that flows smoothly, data moves correctly, nothing falls through the cracks. It connects the dots operationally.
Okay. Vision. This isn't just about charts, is it?
No, this is about understanding visual documents, IDs, contracts, statements.
So it can actually read and interpret them.
Yes. Extract data, check security features on an ID, even spot inconsistencies that might indicate tampering, like comparing an ID photo to a selfie, checking metadata. Huge time saver over manual review.
Wow. Okay. And finally, learning. How does it actually improve?
Through experience, essentially. It sees new data, outcomes, feedback. The blog example was spotting a new money laundering technique based on payment pattern.
And then doing what?
And then automatically adjusting its monitoring rules or thresholds in response. It adapts its defenses. That's the key difference from static systems.
This sounds powerful, but back to that transparency issue, the black box. How does the explainability AI layer work?
This is crucial. It's designed specifically to make the AI's decisions understandable, and not just one-size-fits-all explanations.
Tailored explanations.
Exactly. Tailored for different people. Regulators might need a deep, detailed audit trail. Operations staff need practical insights on why something was flagged. Executives need a high-level summary.
How does it generate those?
It tracks the key factors driving a decision, uses natural language processing to explain it clearly, provides visualizations, gives confidence scores, and helps generate documentation. It's all about enabling that human-AI collaboration.
Building trust, essentially.
Precisely. Now, underpinning a lot of this is memory and context. The blog talks about knowledge graphs and vector databases.
Right. What role do they play?
They're key parts of Complia AI's memory. Knowledge graphs are like intricate maps. They represent entities, customers, accounts, companies, and crucially, the relationships between them.
So it helps see connections.
Yes. Mapping complex ownership structures, finding hidden links, visualizing networks, understanding how regulations connect to specific entities. It provides structured relational memory.
Okay. And vector databases.
Vector databases work differently. They store information based on semantic similarity on meaning, not just exact word. Meaning, Comply AI can find related information even if it's phrased differently. It can spot transaction patterns that are conceptually similar to known fraud types, even if the details vary, or understand compliance documents across different languages. It adds a layer of contextual understanding.
That sounds really powerful for finding non-obvious risks.
Sure.
Let's circle back to the vendor-agnostic point, moving from fragmentation to orchestration. How does it actually connect to all these different systems?
Well, the blog mentions support for over 20 native integrations already, plus an open architecture.
Okay.
This means it's designed to plug into various LLM providers, different knowledge graph types, multiple vector databases, standard APIs for things like identity checks, transaction monitoring feeds, document systems.
So it acts as an intelligent hub connecting these pieces.
That's a good way to put it. It reduces the need for point-to-point integrations, which are costly and complex.
And speaking of connections, they also mention a portable identity gateway. What's that?
Think of the gateway as a universal adapter almost. It provides a single point of integration to access hundreds of different vendor APIs for identity, documents, transactions, etc.
So Comply AI doesn't need a separate connection for each vendor.
Right. The agents within Comply AI use this gateway to orchestrate workflows, pulling data or triggering actions from various external services seamlessly. It simplifies things massively.
I can see how that would speed things up. So putting Comply AI and this gateway together, what's the payoff? What are the big operational wins?
The blog paints a picture of truly end-to-end automation for complex financial workflows. Payment processing with compliance baked in, automated banking ops, identity verification, document handling, smarter transaction monitoring.
Here's the benefits.
Things like 2047 processing, consistent rule application, which is huge for compliance, faster turnaround times, lower costs, fewer manual errors, better scalability, and richer analytics because everything is connected.
So just to quickly recap the core components,
Yeah.
it's Ahrvo Comply AI as the brain.
And the portable identity gateway providing the connectivity muscle.
Right, and this combo enables that shift from silos to synthesis.
Exactly. The old way fragmented systems leads to gaps, inconsistencies, painful audits, trouble spotting complex risks that cross system boundaries.
Whereas this synthesized approach offers.
Continuous monitoring, automated reconciliation, unified audit trails, better detection of sophisticated patterns, and ultimately lower overhead and less risk. It creates a cohesive ecosystem.
And presumably, this adaptability helps with future-proofing, staying ahead of regulatory changes.
That's definitely a key selling point mentioned. The architecture is designed to evolve, to incorporate new rules or integrate new tools without needing a fundamental rebuild each time. Adaptability is built in.
So wrapping it up, the main thrust seems to be transforming compliance from just a cost center or a burden.
Into potentially a strategic advantage. By reducing costs and risks, speeding things up, and allowing firms to use advanced AI without ditching their current tech stack.
It's really about eliminating that fragmentation and creating this unified, intelligent layer over the existing financial infrastructure.
That's the core value proposition, yes, a significant shift.
Okay, well, that covers our deep dive into Ahrvo Network's Comply AI,
Right.
drawing from their blog post. For me, the big takeaway is this concept of an agentic, multi-capability AI architecture that aims for intelligence and adaptability, integrating with what's already there, and crucially, providing transparency.
Agreed. It's a move beyond simple if-then rules towards a more nuanced, context-aware approach to managing financial crime risk and compliance.
Definitely. So here's a final thought for you, our listeners. Reflecting on this, how might this kind of intelligent, adaptive, and integrated AI approach reshape not just compliance, but maybe other complex operational areas you see in your own industry? Where are the silos in your world that could benefit from synthesis?
Food for thought.
Indeed. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next Unplugged Headlines.